We don't care when you call our name. We don't care, we are just the same. We ignore the waves and we ignore the fire. We need a miracle. Watch over there, it disappears. We lose it all and shed no tears. Behind the progress, behind our walls, we had it all and we want more. It's just a dream that turns into nightmare. The future is ours, we run out of time. Just a dream that turns into nightmare. We don't care when you call our name. We don't care, we are just the same. We ignore the waves and we ignore the fire. We need a miracle.
With us now are our seniors of our girls soccer team. And ladies, this has been a very unusual summer. You've not had any scrimmages. You've not had any kind of preseason tournaments. You've had nothing but practice. I'm sure that's been all kinds of fun, hasn't it?
So much fun.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what's it been like, though, in all seriousness. What's it been like for you guys going into a summer, not knowing you're going to get a season? We just found out yesterday, Governor DeWine says we are going to have a season. But up until yesterday, we really didn't know. What was that like for you, Whitney?
I think it scared me a lot because it's my senior year and I want to play, and we still don't know because our season can still get cut more short.
It's going to be an unusual year, no question. And one of those things is we're going to play only league teams. Jordan, I want to ask you, what teams in our league are you looking forward to playing, maybe one more than another?
I look forward to playing Sydney and Troy.
Why those two?
I know a lot of people from there, and I think it's fun playing on the field, no matter what team.
Great. Whitney, I want to ask you the same. What games are you looking forward to this year?
Looking forward to Sydney, like always. I feel like we still have a good team, so we might be able to beat them.
Ladies, we certainly wish you luck, and we know it's going to be a great season for the Lady Indians. We ask you to come down here at Wirt Stadium, check out the team. They will also be on the Indian Nation stations. We'll be right back with Coach Smith. With us now is the new varsity girls soccer coach and Coach Kelsey Smith. Kelsey, first of all, welcome to the Indian Nation and welcome to being in your first year of head coach here at Piqua.
Thank you. It's been an exciting year so far. It's definitely been different with everything going on with the pandemic, but so far all the girls have been pretty positive and we're doing pretty well.
Well, we're going to talk a little about that, particularly in the summer here, but let's talk about how you got here. Talk a little about your soccer background as a player and as a coach.
So I'm originally from Ashland, Ohio, up north. I played in high school, and then I went on to play at Ashland University. It's a Division II college up there. As soon as I graduated, I went on to coach at Northwestern High School up north, not the one down here. And I also coached for the Ohio Strikers United, which is a club in Worcester, Ohio.
So you've got a Northeast Ohio connection then.
Yeah.
No question. The Eagles of Ashland. Yep. You got yourself now. You are for the Indians of Piqua. You're a guidance counselor at Spring Creek. Yep. The job came open. You applied. What has it been like for you just as a coach coming into it before the pandemic came in? What were your goals and what were some of your things that you were trying to establish coming before you even had your first practice?
So my main goal for the team this year was to just improve. I know that in years past we've kind of struggled a little bit, and I want to just improve. That's my main goal. I'm not looking right now at wins and losses per se. I just want to see each individual girl come together as a team and improve individually and as a whole.
Coach, this pandemic, as you mentioned, has added another additional layer.
Yeah.
So we've been working out since the end of May. That Tuesday, right after Memorial Day, we started.
Yep.
I've seen you guys in the weight room. You've been up at 7 a.m. Doing workouts throughout the summer.
Yep.
What's been unusual, though, is you've had no scrimmages.
Right.
You haven't had any preseason tournaments. You've had nothing but just inter-squad scrimmages. What's that been like as a coach to try to figure out where you're at?
It's been difficult, honestly. It's hard when it's my first year coming in and I don't know the positions these girls can play, their work ethic so far, and it's hard to get them motivated when we don't have other teams to play against. But they have been doing very well, and I'm very proud of them for sticking it out since the beginning of summer, and getting into this preseason with no scrimmages and just wondering what is going to happen with this season.
A true grind, no question. But we got the shot in the arm yesterday. Governor DeWine gives us the green light. That announcement's coming that we are going to have a season. We'll know more about that next week. But that's got to be encouragement for you as a coach, but also for our seniors, and 13 of them this year. 13
of them, yes, absolutely. I can only imagine that right now they're very excited for the fact that they are going to have at least the start of a senior season.
When you look at this season, we start 1 week from Monday. 10 days from today is our first game. That's kind of hard to imagine that we've got a lot to figure out in 10 days. I know next week you're going to try to scrimmage here to try to get ready to go. But what is your goal in the next 10 days to get our team ready to go, not just for game one, but for the start of the season now that you're going to start seeing some other competition?
So soccer is a mental game also to begin with. And so this next week we're really going to be focusing on the mental side of things and getting them into like game mentality, because so far we've been in practice mentality, and that's completely different, as you know. So starting on Monday, we've warned them like we're going to come focused, hard work, put in as much work as you can. We have, like you said, 10 more days from today, so let's get into that game mentality.
Coach, we certainly wish you luck, not only just because of your first year, but you've got another layer of challenges. I know you've got a good group of girls that are excited and talking to the seniors today. We certainly wish you well.
Thank you very much.
We will be right back. With us now are the captains of our boys soccer team. I'm going to have them introduce themselves and the grade that they're in.
I'm Nathan, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Camden, and I'm a junior.
I'm Nick. I'm a junior.
Nick, I'm going to start with you. This has been a little bit of an unusual summer. First of all, you've got a new coach, and the second thing is you've got a summer of pandemic, no scrimmages. You've had nothing other than practices. That's good, and it can be challenging at times. What's it been like to go through a summer with knowing that we weren't sure if the season was going to kick off, and again, we just got that word yesterday, but what's it been like for you, A, as a player, and then B, as a leader?
It's been very different. We haven't been able to scrimmage, so we haven't been able to see the competition yet. We haven't been able to work as much as a team as we'd like to have. We haven't found that chemistry yet, but I think we will eventually.
Good. And when you look at it from a leader's perspective, what are some of the things that you think our team is good at just by looking at what we've seen so far in just our workouts this summer?
I think we're very good at communicating. That's our high point for sure.
Good. Cam, I'm going to bring you in on this one now. We got a new coach, and Coach Tom Wiseman. New atmosphere, new culture. What's it been like from you as a leader's perspective to A, embrace that, and then also to communicate that out to the others?
The coaching staff has been really good this year. I mean, they've really made us feel like a family. They've brought us in. They've helped us with everything we've done so far, and I think they're going to be really good coaches for us this year.
Nathan, I know that you and I know a lot about soccer, and you're kind of our soccer knowledge guy. From going in, though, into the season, knowing that we're only playing schools in the MVL, what games are you looking forward to playing this year that you believe that we can really be right in there in terms from a competitive standpoint?
Well, definitely Troy, because we were in there last year and we lost it at the end, and Sydney also, because we tied them, and I think we can beat them this year.
Okay. Guys, real quick, I'm just going to run down real quick, and tell me what one of your goals are this year as a team that you think that the boys soccer team can achieve as we move forward.
Well, I'm looking forward to going to the playoffs and getting through the first or maybe second round if we play good enough.
All right, that's a good one.
I'm looking forward to winning more games and not losing as many, come out on top.
All right.
I'm also looking forward to playoffs. I'd like to make it past the second round.
Okay. We are certainly looking forward to watching you guys play. We certainly wish you guys luck. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk to Coach Wiseman. Guys, best wishes to you. With me now is the new boys head varsity soccer coach and Coach Tom Wiseman. And Coach, welcome to Piqua. We're glad to have you here, and it means a great deal to have you a part of what is a storied soccer program. But from your perspective, what's it been like to be a Piqua head coach thus far?
Well, thus far, I think we have a really good booster program that supported us. It makes my job a lot easier off the field, so I can concentrate a lot on the field. The boys have responded to a culture we're trying to build. We're getting there, and so I think we're going to surprise some people.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that and surprising people in the season up here just a little bit. Let's go back and talk a little bit about Coach Wiseman before you got to Piqua. Talk a little bit about your soccer background and your coaching background.
Well, just like everybody, a lot of other guys, I started out at just the rec programs, and then ended up being a varsity assistant for 2 years at Lehman Catholic in Sydney, where I'm from. Then was head coach there for 3 years. Helped a team out in Houston, Ohio, try to get their program going back in 2019, and then came here in 20. And then, as far as some club experience, coached club for about 7 years. Was a ODP instructor for a couple of those years as well.
Well, we're glad you brought you over from the dark side to bring you on the good side.
That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about this unusual start to a season. It's been a pandemic in that we started the summer with the hopes of having a season, really not sure if you're going to have a season, but then trying to put together and coordinate, figure out who we have, what's our personnel. There's a lot of moving parts here. What's that been like for you, Coach?
Well, what we've tried to do is just stay positive and not talk too much to the players about what's coming up. Just making sure that they're following in line with the COVID restrictions and guidelines. Making sure that we keep everybody out of trouble, quite frankly, and just run it like we would any other program. The only difference is we've not had any scrimmages to see what we do against other opponents.
No evaluation points for you, really, and you're going to get that here in 10 days. Will be our first game of the season. Before we get into that, though, what is it that your goal is in the next 10 days to get ourselves ready to participate in competition where we haven't really had anything other than inter-squad?
Well, it's like I told the coaches, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You see a piece and you think, well, I think this piece will fit here. And then you say, probably won't fit there, so let's try another piece. And we can force this piece in, but that's going to screw up the entire puzzle. So that's over the next 10 days, we're trying to put those last pieces together. We have a lot of multi-talented and flexible kids on varsity and JV that can play anywhere. We got to find where they're going to play that's best for them and best for the team. So we just got to put that together over the next, probably try to get that done by the middle of this next week.
We have not yet had the opportunity. You'll be back here next week here at work. You haven't had a chance to get on this grass. It's a little different, obviously, different surroundings. But let's talk a little bit about the season. You said something about surprises, and we had a chance to talk to our captains, and I think they, too, kind of talked about that theme. I know you've told me personally that wins and losses necessarily aren't important in your first years. You're building that culture, but you're also, I think, trying to send a message that we're not going to just roll over for anybody.
No, I mean, we've told the kids, we've told the parents, we've told amongst ourselves as coaches, we have 3 jobs. Number 1 is to make these boys better young men. That's the number 1 job. Number 2 is to win some this year, to encourage the program to grow. And then number 3, make sure that we're doing everything we can to set up for the future. So we're not just winning 1 year, we're actually trying to spread this out over 5 to 10 years.
Coach, you've got 3 seniors and a strong core of underclassmen. What is your perspective on our seniors and their leadership and blending that in with our young guys?
Again, talking about the flexibility, all 3 of our seniors can play pretty much anywhere on the field. That helps tremendously. And I've told them several times, we want this to be a great senior season for you. We don't want to just lollygag through the season and whatever happens, happens. We really want to push it and help them understand that, whatever happens this year, 5 years down the road, if we get to a point where we're really contending, they can come back and say, you know what, I helped build this.
Well, I know I, along with many others, are looking forward to seeing the great things here at Piqua Boys Soccer, and we certainly look forward to having you, and we wish you well as you guys get ready to roll in 10 days here at Wirt Stadium. Coach, good luck, and we are going to head now to volleyball as we go through Media Day here at Piqua High School. With us now is our head volleyball coach, Coach Jordan Drake, and Coach, we are now into year 2 of your coaching career here at Piqua. Boy, what a difference a year makes.
I think that's probably the biggest understatement you've ever told me. Year 2's been pretty intense so far, but in good ways.
A real difference in teams. Let's talk a little bit about, though, before we get into this year, and it's been an unusual year for the Go, what was it like as your first year, as you go into the second year? Just from a personal perspective, what did you get out of it? What did you learn? Were there some surprises along the way?
So first year was very much more of a survival year, just kind of not getting through it, but having a lot more first-time experiences. Going into year 2, I think the biggest thing I took away is making sure that my expectations are as high as they can be so that the girls have something to strive for, and making sure that I'm coaching more individually than as a team. This year, I'm really, really looking forward to it. You know, like you said, it's an unusual year with COVID. Also for the volleyball program, we don't have any seniors, which is very unusual for a team in general. And having that has really made us work even harder.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about COVID first, because you brought that up, and that's been an unusual situation. You were sitting at home like everybody in March and April. What was this going to look like? We got back into it late May. And we've been going since then. What's that been like to know, A, you weren't sure what the season was going to look like? For volleyball, early July, we got the green light that, hey, the season's going to happen. But we were going through a couple of months there where, is this going to happen or isn't going to happen? What was that like, A, for you as a coach, but probably moreover for your team and trying to keep them encouraged?
Yeah. So May, June was really kind of difficult, but the nice thing is that we were able to get a few football coaches involved in our program, and they helped run our weight room, and they also did a bunch of plyos and speed work for the girls, and I really think they enjoyed that, and it kept them active and more excited to come to open gyms because they were able to look forward to something other than just wall work or only working with a partner. They had something very exciting to look forward to. Once we got into July and were able to do a lot more in the gym, having those plyos and the weight room still being a part of it, but then they were excited because we were actually able to do drills and serve receive and everything like that. So as awful as COVID's been and as many bumps in the road that it's given us, I think it's actually really helped us too, because the girls were engaged all summer and they never got bored.
The one thing COVID has also brought is not the opportunity to evaluate the scrimmage or see any competition other than themselves.
Yeah.
10 days from today, the Indians will serve off the season, so to speak, as they take on Butler. Coach, your season is going to be a little strange. And that one additional thing that nobody else has is we don't have a gym. And one of the reasons we're here at the junior high is our high school right now is being remodeled, and we're getting new locker rooms, and the gymnasium is occupied with other things. So you've not been home. You've really been on an off-site. What's that been like for the girls, and how do you anticipate that? Because our first 6 of the games of the season are going to be on the road.
Yeah, some parts have been difficult. The biggest thing is there's less room here at the junior high, so serving has been quite an issue for some of our girls that jump serve. But, you know, we've taken it in stride. We've changed a couple of things in practice that we usually don't, or we haven't in the past, like which side of the court we serve from. Since we haven't been home and been in our home, I think the first 6 games being away isn't going to be as much of a disadvantage as you would think, because we haven't been home yet.
Right.
So those first couple of games where we are home, it's going to be even more exciting for the girls because they're finally back in their home gym, and I think they're going to be really excited for that.
We adapt. Kids adapt well, and they're almost probably a bit better than we are as adults. Coach, let's talk a little about the team. No secret, lose the Player of the Year and record setter Tyler Yeomans. But we have a team that's really experienced with some kids that started last year, and we've got a good core of young kids.
Oh yeah, so we have 5 returning lettermen this year, and of that we have Aubrey Shrub, who's our returning middle, and Sydney Hawk, who's going to be a returning middle. Oh, nice job, Abby.
Hey, you got her, but you couldn't get Abby? Jeez! All right, I'm going to start that question again.
Okay, good. Okay, ready.
Coach, obviously the biggest hole to fill is Tyler Yeoman's a senior that graduated, but with no seniors, you do have a lot of people returning, good, strong, core, young group. A lot of high expectations this year's team.
Exactly. So we have 5 returning lettermen this year, including 4 juniors who will be who are a two-time returning lettermen. This year will be their 3rd year on varsity. We have a 3. Now I'm lost. Okay, so Reagan Toops is 3rd year.
We're starting.
Yeah, thank you. Now I'm off.
Way to go, Eller.
I really did. This is the cake.
Jordan, no secret, last year losing a Player of the Year and record setter Tyler Yeomans. No seniors this year. Big shoes to fill with that, but also a good core of young kids coming back that is going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah, I agree. So we have 5 returning lettermen this year, 4 of which are juniors who've been on varsity since their freshman year. Of those, we have Reagan Toops, who will be in her 3rd year as a libero. We have Aubrey Shrub, who's pretty unstoppable up at the net as middle. Same with Sydney Hoff. We also have Kara Reed, who's a great outside hitter, and her back row is really, really good. Jordan Atkins is a sophomore returning letter, and she's an outside hitter, and she's worked really hard this summer getting her vertical up. We also have a couple new setters and everything. We're really, really excited to see what this year brings us.
We have an unusual situation that our schedule is going to be all NBL teams, so we don't have any non-leagues. What's that for you as a coach, with Para, knowing that you're going to play everyone twice anyways, but at the end of the season it could be a hodgepodge of some teams that we've seen, or maybe a tournament. Does that change anything from your perspective?
I don't think it really changes anything from our perspective, but it makes me more competitive going into the season, and I'm hoping to bring that competitive nature to the girls. I think that the fact that we're only playing NBL teams gives us that opportunity to be more way competitive. Since we're only playing teams in our league, and I'm hoping for the best.
Coach, good luck. Have fun. We're going to talk next to our captains of our volleyball team. Should be an interesting one with the group coming in. With us now are our captains of our volleyball team, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves and tell us the grade that they're in.
I'm Jordan Atkins, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Reagan Toops, and I'm a junior.
I'm Kara Reed, and I'm a junior.
Kara, I'm going to start with you. This has been an unusual year. Everyone talks about COVID. You guys have been practice all summer, no scrimmages. You haven't seen anyone but yourselves. What's that been like for you?
I feel like it's been kind of tough on our team, but having our strongest hitters and just working hard at practice, I feel will bring us our victories.
When you look at just no scrimmaging, and you just look at one another, has it gotten boring? Has it been a little different summer than a normal summer?
Yeah, I really enjoy having the scrimmages, but we've just been doing different drills to just keep us in the game.
Toops, better known as Toopsy, we call you, affectionately, of course. You're a goal-oriented person. What are some of the goals that you have for this team as a captain, a leader?
Obviously, a winning season, but since we are a young team, just banding together because we don't have any seniors to look up to, just staying together as a team.
Is that concerning to you, not having any seniors? Is that strange?
It is strange, but it's just even more reason for us juniors to step up and lead everybody.
Good. Talk a little bit about the season and upcoming. We've got I know some schools that you guys are looking forward to playing. What schools out there are on our schedule? Because we're only playing NBL schools that you look forward to playing this year.
City for sure.
Now, why Sydney for sure? You said it was such affectionate.
Last year, we took them in 5 matches every single time. It was very high competition, and we sure were ready.
The Jackets and the Indians affectionately have had a strong rivalry, particularly in the sport of volleyball the last several years. What team are you looking forward to?
Sydney for sure.
The Jackets are getting a little love here. All right, okay. Here, I'm going to ask you real quick. I'll throw you off here. You're going to be in another picture here at Media Day. Would you like to tell the good folks here out in the Indian Nation Station what sports you do?
I'm also a cheerleader for football.
How has that been to go back and forth, particularly in fall sport?
It's kind of hard dealing with schoolwork and 2 sports at a time, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, we are glad to have all 3 of you here today. Thanks for taking your time. You guys were outstanding. You guys were nervous. See, it all worked out pretty well. What a fun group this group is. Hey, good luck. We certainly wish you guys all the best. And with us now is the head girls golf coach, Coach Bergman. And Coach, this is your second year now as coach. What do you see different as you go into the second year as coach versus your first year now that you've got 1 year of experience under your belt?
The experience definitely helps, so making the schedule's been easier. We lost a couple seniors and Addie and Reese, so that was a big of a hit. But we still have a lot of returning talent, so that helps too.
Talk a little about the schedule. We are, because of the pandemic and COVID, we're only playing Miami Valley League schools, and so we had to rework our schedule a little bit. What's that like from your perspective? Has that changed much on your terms of the competition that we see, and how do you think the girls would respond to that?
I think the competition is probably about the same. The MVL has quite a few good teams, and some of our non-conference matches might have been some wins, so it's really a toss-up as far as that goes. As far as the girls go, I think they're embracing it. Not a lot changes for them. We still come to practice every day and we still play our matches. We just show up at different places.
We talk about our summer, and really you had an opportunity to get some more swings with the girls this summer with getting them to show up and working with them. What was that like, particularly going through a pandemic when we were hoping at that, there was a point in the season where we really didn't know if we were going to get it off and running. What was that like as a coach to try to prepare for that, and how did the girls respond, do you think?
It was obviously just a lot of unknown. Week to week, we didn't know if we were going to have practice or not, if it was going to get canceled. So just figuring out how that was going to work. We still had practice every week, so that helped. And the girls showed up like they should and got our work in.
Good. Let's talk a little about our top returners. We've got some golfers that really are going to help make a dent in certainly probably as few swings as possible. I know that's the name of the golf game, but talk a little about them and what you see them potentially this year.
Well, we'll start out with Kenzie Anderson. She's already tied her career low, and it's only the 3rd match in, so we have a lot of time left for that to get lower. So I look forward to seeing what she can do. And then we have Brooklyn and Haley, they're in their 4th year now, so we expect big things out of them.
Unlike most of the fall sports, you guys have already started the season, and as we get moving in here into the middle of August and throughout the year, we certainly wish you well. I know it's been an unusual year, but Coach, we appreciate what you've given to our kids and look forward to a great year for you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back. We're going to talk to the seniors of our golf team when we return. I'm now with our senior golfers, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves each individually.
I'm Haley Krogman.
Sierra Grinstead.
Brooklyn Wright.
Brooklyn, I'm going to start with you. This has been a bit of an unusual summer because we've not sure if we were going to have a season. And what was that like for you, knowing that, hey, this was my senior year and hoping to get it off the ground, but you're coming to workouts but not really sure what that was going to look like?
Honestly, I wasn't too worried because since we're a no-contact sport, it's kind of easy to space ourselves out between other players. So I wasn't too worried about not having a season, but the thought was definitely there.
Yeah. Talk about some of the goals individually that you guys might have and a team. What are some things that have been coming through your mind here in the last few weeks as you guys have already started your season?
Just improving. Last year I didn't do it, but I did 2 years prior. So coming back, it was kind of tough, but I think I'm catching up really well. So.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you back. And Ms. Krogman, it's your senior year. It just does not seem that right that it's your senior year. For you, coming into your senior year, there's got to be some matches that you're looking forward to participating in. And as I was talking to Coach Bergman, unfortunately, we're just playing Miami Valley schools, but we get to have a season. And for that, there's a lot of schools in our league that we like to play. Give me some that you're looking forward to.
Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to playing against Troy. MVL just got canceled recently. I was looking forward to that, but since that's not happening, it's mainly just focusing
but
on
you'll still
Troy.
you'll have your tournament there in your postseason, which will be similar to the NBL.
Right.
Yeah. We certainly want to wish all 3 of you well as you guys continue to go through the season, and we know good things are going to happen for the Lady Indians. Good luck, ladies.
Thank you.
We will be back, and we're going to talk boys golf here on the Indian Nation Station. We'll be back. With us now is the head boys golf coach and Coach Johnson. And Coach, you guys have already actually started your season. Unlike most of our teams, we're sitting and waiting. You guys been out and about. What's the season been like for you so far as we get into week 3?
It's kind of been up and down. We've had some really good scores, and we've had some scores that we need to improve on, which is very common in the beginning of the golf season because people play different amount of golf throughout the summer. Some guys play a lot, some guys don't. So we're just kind of trying to find some consistency right now and make sure we're going on the right direction towards the league matches.
Well, before we get into our league and we talk about some of those things, just you talk about the beginning, in the beginning of practice, and really even before our season, we were dealing with an unusual situation where were we going to have a season? Coaching them through the summer and COVID, what was that like, and how was that getting ready for the season for you?
It wasn't really that much different for us. I mean, it's pretty easy to social distance in golf.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wear a mask when I'm around the guys, and other than that, we don't change scorecards or exchange scorecards. Everybody keeps their distance, but I mean, other than that, you just kind of go out and play golf and kind of do your own thing.
So let's move into the season and let's talk a little bit about those guys that we're expected to be leaders for us. Let's start with our senior, Decker, and a little bit about him but what your expectations that you think that he can achieve this year, along with some of our other guys.
Decker's definitely going to be one of our leaders. He's going to be a 4-year letterman for us. He knows how to play the courses that we're going to play this year, and he also has a great mindset. He knows that if he makes one mistake, it's not the end of the world. He can always bounce back from that, and it's a good example for the younger guys to follow. Evan Hensler is going to be another guy who's going to be one of our leaders, and he's played a lot of golf, and he's really improved over the past couple of years. So I think those two guys are really going to show the younger guys what it takes to play high school golf.
You mentioned about conference golf, and we're not having any non-league games because of COVID this year. What does that change for you in terms of schedule? Does it change a lot, or does it keep things fairly similar to it?
We'll play the league teams more than once. Some of the teams we already played twice, and some of them we don't. But we're going to play a couple of them twice. The good thing about the teams that we play, we all get along. We all like playing golf against each other, and the coaches get along really well, so it makes it easy to schedule. Also, because of all this, we may actually get to play a few more home matches, because we already had some away ones, but now less travel, stay at home, play at Echo. We can work on averages, work on consistency, and hopefully have better scores.
Well, I have no doubt that will happen. And certainly, Coach, we wish you well as we move through this season and go get them. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to our senior, Decker Jackson, when we return. With us now is our lone senior, Decker Jackson. And Decker, first of all, you're going into your 4th year. This is your 4th year of lettering in golf, not just playing, but lettering. What's this senior year mean to you, particularly knowing that you were coming off of a spring where a lot of seniors all the seniors didn't get their spring sport in, and there was a little bit of a hangover that maybe that might not happen. What were some of the thoughts going in your mind from that standpoint?
I was just really hoping that I was going to get to play. I was thinking, maybe we could get things going because golf is such a non-contact sport. But really going into the year, the biggest thing for me is I really wanted to be a leader. We have a lot of young guys on the team, and I really want to show them, golf is a sport where things can go bad really quickly and things can get out of hand. Your anger can get the best of you. And really, it's a cliche that golf teaches you a lot about life, but it really does. And I want to really show the freshmen this year that that's the case, and be a good example.
Truly a leader here, and when you're talking about golf, you're talking it is up and down. The mental toughness, when you may be in a hole where you may be bogeyed, or you double bogeyed, or maybe you're 3-putted or 4-putted, and to be able to come back to that next hole and to get your mind fresh. What do you have to do as a player and a leader to do that? What are some of the things that you've done?
I think you just have to tell yourself that every shot is a new shot, it's a new day. Your last shot doesn't affect your next shot. You can just really keep that mindset throughout things. When you do something wrong, think about what you did wrong, try to fix it, and build upon that every match and just make your swing better and better as time goes on.
Decker, what are your goals this year? From an individual standpoint and team standpoint, what are some things you're hoping to accomplish?
Just become a better golfer all around, I guess. Really, add some yardage to my drives, make things straighter, reduce my putts, those sort of things. but also kind of learn to have a little more fun with it, take things less seriously, but at the same time, I've really challenged myself to become a better player.
I'll be remiss if I didn't bring this up. One of your other talents, and certainly one that a lot of people see you in a different role in, is your musical talent and playing the piano and singing. And I know that is something you're looking forward to, and that's another show for another day. But talk a little bit about how that too has inspired you of where you are in moving forward to the next leap in the chapter of after high school.
Yeah, well, as far as this year is concerned, we just have to be grateful for everything that we get. But as I go on, I do hope to continue in music and, golf as well. Golf is really something that I can do with my dad. It's really why I took it up, to be honest with you. My dad doesn't play music or anything like that, but he golf, and that's something that, we can go out on a Saturday and do something like that. But as I go throughout college, not necessarily is music going to be maybe a career of mine, but definitely something that I stick with, for the rest of my life. It's something that I really find passionate.
A young Elton John, I believe. Hey, we will wish these guys luck. Good luck with you this year with golf. I know we're going to do some good things, and certainly best wishes to you as you move forward. We are going to move on to cross country when we return. With us now are our cross country seniors, and we've got 6 of them. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
I'm Colleen Cox.
Aubrey Cathcart,
Jordan Karn.
Leah, Bailey Krogman.
So we have several people that you've seen already in a different uniform. We've got a few of them that are doing dual sports, and I'm going to have them actually go ahead and just introduce themselves and how you're, not introduce themselves, but talk a little bit about what sport you're in real quick. Both.
I'm in golf and cross country. I'm in soccer and cross country.
I'm in cross country and cheer.
I'm in soccer and cross country.
Real quick, what's that like to be able to do both? Is it difficult?
Yeah, it's very difficult, especially when practice times are at the same time, because you can't be both places at the same time. Yeah.
I agree with Colleen.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of time consuming. Yes.
It's hard for time management, but it's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you put the time in, it's certainly going to get a lot out of that, and obviously you're not doing it, you just feel like you could pull that off, so we certainly wish you luck. I wanted, Gracie, let's talk a little bit about you, and you're jumping over from one sport to another. You're coming from the soccer world to cross country, but you have been in the cross country world a little bit. So talk a little bit about some of your expectations this year.
Well, in junior high, I was not that good at cross country. I just kind of did it for fun. It was my first year. Actually, something. Soccer was really fun, but during all of the COVID stuff, I was doing quite a lot in running, and I just kind of found a love for running that I didn't really know that I had. So I don't know. I just kind of want to surprise myself with that.
Welcome back. I'm just going to go through real quick. Give me one thing you guys are looking forward to or goals that you guys have for this upcoming cross-country season.
I don't know, just being able to get back into it and enjoying my teammates and coaches. I'm just looking forward to the meets.
I'm looking forward to the meets and seeing what my time's going to be. Hopefully the 22.
22? Well, now we're getting a little bit more specific.
This is my first year, so just running for a meet is what I'm excited about.
Looking forward to watching everyone and being able to improve in photography.
So we got some photographers, which we didn't talk about that. Let me ask you guys from that perspective, it's a little bit different. What are some things that you guys are looking for this year in terms of just engaging with kids? How fun is that for you to be with your teammates?
It's fun to encourage them while they're running.
Any just a good shot by you doing?
I agree with Elena.
Ditto?
Yes.
All right. Ladies, we certainly wish you guys luck. We know it's going to be a great year and a lot of great things, expectations to go cross country. So good luck to you. We're going to come back and we're going to talk to Coach Fashner and Coach King, our cross country coaches. With us now are our cross country coaches, Coach Fashner and Coach King. And guys, here we are. what has been a strange summer for a lot of reasons. Cross country, and let's talk about that before we get into the season. Really was kind of bouncing back between a contact sport and a non-contact sport, and up until almost just a week ago, we weren't really sure what that season was going to look like. But now it looks promising as cross country got moved over to non-contact with the Indian Nation Station to follow all that stuff. But talk a little bit about the uneasiness of the summer, not just as coaches, but trying to lead a group of kids and keeping them encouraged.
Yeah, obviously not knowing what we were going to fall was unsettling for a little while, especially when we knew what we felt like our sport was. But at the same time, we had a good summer. With all these kids, a lot of them missing out on track and some of their spring season, they were ready to go. And we've had great attendance and great effort, and I thought we've had a fantastic summer.
Well, one of the things of the summer that I noticed that a lot of people wouldn't think about is the weight room. And Coach, we were in the weight room the other day, and you guys were getting after it in the weight room. Talk a little bit about why. Obviously, you're going to go out and run, you're going to get your miles, but what does the weight room do for cross country? How does that help?
I think it's just part of the strength and conditioning. It's an important aspect of it. I know not everybody looks at cross country runners and thinks that their kids hit the weights, right, but it is an important part of our program. So it's something to make sure we incorporate.
Now we get into our season. It is going to be a little bit of an odd season for the cross country world, because in the cross country bubble, so to speak, I know that's been a word that's been used a lot during the last few months. We typically go out and we race in large invitationals at other schools throughout the Dayton and even throughout the state. This is going to be a little different this year. We are going all MVL because of COVID, and so that schedule is going to be moved just from school to school, and we're actually going to host more meets because of that. From a coach's perspective, how do you get your kids ready for something like that when the schedule looks so different than it did traditionally or even just a year ago?
Well, there's some positives to it. I mean, we're fortunate enough. MVL's got some pretty competitive cross-country teams in it, so we're going to be competing against some of this area's stronger kids anyway. So that's encouraging, and honestly, MVL and the ADs have done a good job of trying to make our schedule interesting, not try to make it just the same race every week against the same people. So our kids are excited, and I think everybody's happy to be here at this point, and I think it'll be a good season.
There'll be 3 races that we are hosting, an also a middle school race, and then one at Piqua Country Club, which is different, and then we're going to do a race here on the 26th, which may have a different flavor to it. We haven't figured that out, but as a coach, it's nice to know you're going to have some home meets.
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice to have some extra meets at home, because usually, we have one home meet, and that takes care of our senior night and anything else we need to accomplish as school that's hosting a home meet. And sometimes that's tough, everyone. So it's nice having a couple and they're spread out, and we got that opportunity too.
Last thing we want to talk about is really kind of what the expectations are, and I know there are great expectations because of the work that you guys have put in here the last few years, and you've got some kids that are genuinely trained and put a lot of miles in the off season, both on the girls and the boys side. I think Piqua cross country is certainly people are going to know who we are.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a strong summer. The kids have been pretty focused, and even with the uncertainties, they knew they still needed to get ready. So on both the boys and girls side, I think we'll be very competitive, and we're still relatively young as well. So it's going to be a strong year, and next year's going to be another good one.
Yeah, Coach, when you look at the youth that we have, and we have no seniors, which is a little unusual, it's got to feel good to know that you got a young team, but a strong young team that probably has some people that put some times out there and getting it well beyond just the first district meet.
Oh yeah, we knew we had our junior groups really strong. We've got the last year's junior high NBL champion coming in as a freshman, so that'll obviously help our boys team. And on the girls' side, we have a surprise with some seniors coming out this year that we didn't know we'd have, and a couple other kids that we didn't expect that are going to be well. So it's good.
The one thing that we haven't talked for in years is a team that has placed to the regional, not individuals, but team. I know that's something you guys are saying. That's something that's a very realistic goal for us. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a big focus for the boys team this year, certainly, and obviously we hope postseason looks that way so that we can take advantage of it. But this is definitely the best shot we've had.
But media day, one of the things too that I caught on Coach Basher was the chemistry, good chemistry, as always in cross country. But this particular group, you can tell they've got a special bond.
Oh yeah, and even with the newer runners, I think they fit in. But I mean, we've got a big group that's been running together for 5 years now, so they definitely developed that bond over time. Great group of kids. So
A lot of things to look forward to in Piqua cross country, home meets, and a lot of success. We wish you guys all the best as we move forward. Thanks. Guys, we're going to move on to girls tennis, and we're looking forward to getting onto brand new courts here at Piqua City Schools. Coach Rhodes, welcome to the Indian Nation. This is your first year as our tennis coach. A little unusual situation. You're coming in, however, you're taking over a program that's had some success here last year, coming off the most wins in the school history. Welcome, but let's talk a little bit about what that's like to come into a program that's established and you're just kind of getting up and running. You're able to coaching some kids that have some tennis experience.
I think it's an easier experience than if I were to start from scratch, like the assistant coach came in and started several years ago. So I just want to be able to maintain and build the team as what's already established and hopefully contribute to Piqua tennis.
And let's talk a little about your background. You played tennis, but you're an educator as well. And so talk a little about where you work at and your education background and then also your tennis background.
Currently I teach English as a second language for Upper Valley Vocational School for the adults. I have a master's in literacy and second language studies. I've been part of the Miami County community for about 15 years. I worked for the Park District. So several of these girls remember me from when they were smaller kids and they came out for environmental education programs. And then I taught a couple years English at university as well. So kind of well-rounded. And then as far as tennis, I played as a kid growing up, and then I played for Sinclair Community College 2 years.
Well, we're glad to have you a partner. I know you played with Coach Davis, our assistant at Schroeder. So in the tennis world, you guys are connected, and we're glad to have you here. What has been your impressions thus far? You're a couple weeks into practice, and you start your matches on Monday, first out of the gate with Butler. What's been your impression so far of our tennis team?
I think it's great. The girls are consistent, they're hardworking, we've been at it for 8 weeks now, and they're enthusiastic, and it's just a really great group of girls to work with.
All summer, you guys have showed up and had great attendance, over 15 every time down at Fountain Park. Now behind us, you're seeing brand new tennis courts, which they just put in. So you just got started practicing here in the last week, but you've been down at Fountain Park. We've had great attendance. I've had to encourage you.
Right. I mean, we divided the girls up and we made it work. We had some calisthenics stations, some running stations, tennis stations, and then to come here and be able to get them all on the court at the same time. It's nice.
What are some of the goals and expectations that you have for this season in your first year? It's a little question. But what are some things you're like?
I want the girls to get the most out of this season, and I want hopefully I want to be able to contribute to that with strategic coaching.
Well, I can tell you, just being around you in the time that we have, our girls have learned a lot. And you've been in great form, and I know you're going to pick up right where you left off. And we certainly wish you luck this year and certainly our team.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to come back and we're going to talk to our captains when we return. With us now are our tennis players, and coming off of what was our most successful season in school history last year, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but right now let's have you guys introduce yourselves and the grade you're in.
I'm Izzy King, and I'll be a junior.
I'm Cassie Arnett, I'm a senior.
I'm Paige Stump, and I'm a senior.
Izzy, we're coming off a successful season. A lot of people are having high hopes and high expectations for this team. But before we get into that, we've had a lot of changes with that. Number one, we've had a change of coach. Coach Sterrett, who we think the world of, had to go in a different direction from an educational perspective. In comes Coach Rhodes. So, we got a new coach, and we've had COVID to deal with. Not to mention, you didn't have your home tennis courts to work on this summer. So you've been a couple different twists and turns. How's that been for you, and how have you guys as a team handle that challenge?
It was definitely different than last year, but I think the main part was we all kept an open mind the whole time, and so we were all able to kind of come together as a team and connect with each other and just kind of go with the flow and figure it all out together.
As a senior, tell us a little bit about what your expectations are of the season, but how that couples in with a new coach.
I'm expecting us to just have a really good season, and I'm excited because Coach Melissa brings a lot of new ideas and everything to the team. She's a singles player. I don't think we ever had a coach that's a singles player, so she's really nice.
And here we are. For you, your senior year is hard to believe. What are some of the things that you expect this year? Some of your goals this year?
I'm excited to make friends with the other teams and be nice. Like last year, I would get compliments from the other coaches, and so I look forward to that again. I don't know, showing that Piqua is a great team, a nice girl.
And that's you just said something. A lot of people would look at that and say, "I didn't think sports is tennis is not a gladiator sport. You know, we're not out. We don't talk trash to the other team. We don't get on Instagram and we don't tell them, you know, we're gonna knock you out or anything. This is a real ladies' game, gentlemen's game, where there is a lot more engagement with the other school. That being said, I know you are highly competitive, and I know that there is expectations this year with us not having a non-league schedule, it's just MBL. What does that look like when it's just MBL schools too? Because you do not know a lot of these schools because you get funded.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it actually because I think it's going to be more competition this year. And even if the outcome isn't what we want, it's always a good challenge and it keeps us going. So I'm excited for it.
Ladies, we certainly wish you guys luck. We know it's going to be a great year for Piqua tennis. We wish you well with brand new courts, and we're going to have a brand new year with high expectations of having success and being friendly with one another. We're going to head to Alexander Stadium, where it doesn't get that friendly on the combat of the Gladiator football field. We'll be back with Coach Neeson and our senior football players and the expectations of what might happen this coming season. With us now is our athletic trainer, Katie Smith. And Katie, you're going to year 20. Is that right? Yeah. That's hard to believe. 20 years.
20 years. 2001 was the first year here. First year became a
And we are in the 20th year of the anniversary of Alexander Stadium. And this year is different than any other year with education, with COVID-19 and all the protocols that we've had to take care of. Just briefly talk about some of those things that we have done to try to keep our kids safe outside of just the normal things. What are some of the things that our kids have had to do every time they come to work out, and what are we doing after workout?
So one of the biggest responsibilities that we take care of, and the coaches are taking very, very serious, is our sanitation. We've always maintained like good sanitation, wiping things down, cleaning things, making sure kids wear clean clothing and clean equipment. And this year we're just taking extra precautions. We have more spray bottles available, and they've all bought into it. They're all working at it and making sure they wipe things down. The other thing is distancing whenever it's possible. So if there's a situation where they do not have to be in close contact, we are separating people and making sure we're using the locker rooms on a limited basis. There's only a few people in the locker room at a time. The kids have really stepped up, and the parents have stepped up, and they've brought water bottles in instead of us just using our normal spray machines and things like that. The parents have stepped up and bought some water bottles for the kids, and they've been using that as their hydration. We just kind of just kind of roll with whatever they tell us to do. We're willing to do.
Well, and I know you've been, even here in the last few days, coming up with some inventions to try to keep it without touching things with spray, because we can't give water. They have to bring their own, so we've got to kind of get creative with that. What kind of concerns do you have, or do you believe that we are safe to play football starting on
I really do think that we're safe for games because the same protocols are going to be used. You do throw in the factor of the visiting team. Every team is taking the precautions that we need to. I think we're really going to be okay. I think there is contact, but I think we're outside and we have open air, breezes, hot temperatures. So really, really think with our protocols and sanitizing, I really think that we'll be all right. Is it going to be a perfect situation? No, but I think that we can all adjust it and do that.
Well, Sunday, appreciate your job, athletic trainer, I'll tell you that, and not just Piqua, anywhere across. So, Katie, thanks for everything you're doing for our kids to keep them safe. All right, we're going to get ready for football here when we come back. Here now with our head football coach, Bill Neeson. Coach, we are going into what is the 20th year anniversary of Alexander Stadium. That's a separate show in itself. But what we are getting ready to do is we got the official word yesterday from Mike DeWine that he is going to give us the guidelines on Tuesday. We're going to have a football season that has been a very unusual summer. A lot of expectations for this football team, but let's talk about this summer first. COVID. What was that like coaching through that situation?
Well, actually, once we got the plan down, how we wanted to do stuff, and we've got great cooperation with our janitorial staff, great cooperation, through our board of health and our athletic department. And once we got that plan down, and we're able to keep everything clean and do what we're supposed to do, it was just business as usual. The nice thing about this summer actually was the fact that since there was no restrictions on camp days, etc., our players were out here every day working their butts off, and there was not a single indicator. And I've talked to some other coaches, there's not a single indicator. People are saying, well, we're not sure if we're going to season or not. We went, as soon as we were allowed to go, we went with the idea that we were going to have a season, and we operated that, August 28th, we're going to be playing somebody.
August 28th, the Indians do open up, and it is business as usual, and that mentality really does spread from the top down. But your players, I noticed in practices, they were getting after it. There was no hesitation. The focus, the leadership that this group has, pretty special.
It is a special senior class, and we've got a great group of juniors and sophomores. They're giving us a lot of speed and a lot of skill. The senior class we have this year is predominantly lead line, but we do have some skilled people also in there with our running back and some receivers and stuff. So it's a good blend, and I think those guys have given us great leadership the whole summer. I'm looking forward to those guys being able to get out on the field and show people what they have.
Coach, and we have what is an unusual season in that the season's cut down from 10 games to 6 regular season games, and then everybody's into the playoffs. We'll talk more about that later, but what everybody wants to talk about is what week 1 is, and everyone gets excited about the opener in general, but now your opener is against Troy, which obviously is the big one, and not just the big one in the city of Piqua and Troy, but the big one in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, we always have that, the countdown clock, and they have the countdown clock, and you're still playing somebody else, but, you still got that thing hanging over your head, and you still got maybe a little bit of a squint going over there every once in a while, and now you don't have to. You got both eyes open. And from the time we started, we knew, Belmont was going to be our first game, and we were focused on that, and as soon as we found out that the thing flipped around and was Troy, and that's even better for us, and I'm sure for them too, that we can get all focused pointed at each other.
Coach, we'll talk a little bit about your seniors and some of the things that you expect from our leadership, and in particular individuals that you think are going to be a big part of what this team's about this year.
The cornerstones of our team, and a lot of times we talk about, once we're putting together a puzzle every year, and one of the things you got to do, you ask somebody how you put a puzzle together, and there's 2 things that stand out. Number 1, you go find your 4 corner pieces, and I think we've got great corner pieces. Lance Reeves-Hicks, Jarrell Lewis, 2 of our big defensive linemen. We've got Hepner, Jacob Hepner in there, and those are our 3 giant linemen, and then we also have 2 great receivers, Blaine Ohl, and we got Garrett Shrub back. So I think those guys are our, and I know I mentioned 5, but those guys are our 4 corner pieces. I think from there then, you start looking at those straight pieces on the sides, and Ronnie Coleman, returning starter. Those guys are going to be the heart of the whole thing, and then everybody else just kind of fits in. And you need 2 things for that puzzle. You need those corner pieces, and then you need a picture of what it looks like. And everyone wants to sneak a peek and see what it looks like. And I think our younger guys can look around and and see the state champion stuff, see the runner-up stuff, and say, okay, that's we got a picture of it. We know what it takes to get it done. Let's operate at that level. Let's set that standard that high, and let's get it done.
20-year anniversary of the state runner-up. Ironically, here we are 20 years later, looking at a playoff scenario where everybody gets in. Again, we'll talk more about that later. But the one thing that we should talk about that's different is the schedule. It's an all MVL schedule that is going to be predominantly our division schools. Not much difference in terms of focus, in terms of obviously 1 week at a time. But from a standpoint, is that a good thing for us being in the league, that we know who those schools are?
I think it is. I think it's a big, it's a big deal, in terms of travel. We don't have a game that's that I don't think is more than 20 minutes away, if I'm not mistaken. And so we've got everything right there, and I think it's going to be great for us to continue to keep up our preparations, to continue to keep everybody, using their masks, doing what we have to do, and, keep everybody healthy. Our big goal, and, even with the COVID, threat around, our big goal has always been every year, we've got to keep the team healthy. You got to get your best 11 players and get them on the field.
Coach, we certainly are going to wish you luck, not only in just week 1 against the Trojans, but certainly throughout the year, and we'll see you on our weekly show. We will be back talking to some of our senior football players and captains when we return. With us now are a couple of our defensive linemen. I'm going to have them introduce themselves and the position they play.
I'm Dre Lewis, and I'm a defensive end. I'm Lance Reese. I play defensive tackle.
Two cornerstones which Coach talked about in his interview of this team. Particularly, obviously, you guys are skilled. You have aspirations of playing at the next level. But before we get to the next level, let's take care of business in Piqua. We know that this team is special. This is a team that everybody's been talking about for a while amongst yourselves. What are you guys most looking forward to this 2020 year?
Playing week 1 against Troy.
Yeah, definitely week 1 against Troy, but the overall goal is competing for a championship and competing at the highest level possible against everybody.
Well, every year the seniors have told me to make the playoffs, but this year everybody gets in the playoffs. We'll talk about that further as we get into the season, but well, I'm going to go right back at what you talked about. Week 1 is Troy. Usually that's week 10. You get them right out of the gates after what has been an unusual summer. What is the message, not to Troy, but what is the message to our team in that locker room, not just as we prepare for Troy, because this is a 12-month game that we think about, but what's the message that you're telling as we are preparing for this upcoming season? It is an unusual one.
To pack a lunch and put on a hard hat because we're going to get to work this year.
Lance, from your perspective, what's been a great thing about this team in practice that you've seen day in and day out?
Overall, we got to make sure that we elevate. I mean, we're a good team. We work hard. We all want to be here. We just got to make sure that we get better every day so that we can be the best team that we can be.
Gentlemen, I know we're going to talk to you later in the year and through the coaches show. We wish you well, and we know we've got a big one 2 weeks from today.
Thank you.
With us now, I'm going to introduce our guys. They're going to introduce themselves and the positions they play.
I'm Bueno, and I play wide receiver. I'm Garrett Shrove, and I play wide receiver.
Guys, this has been a strange summer in a lot of ways, knowing or not knowing you're going to have a season. Now that we do know, we're moving forward 2 weeks from today, starts our season and starts against the team that generally we play last. Now we're first. Before we talk about who we're playing in week 1, what does it mean to know that you're going to have your senior year ahead of you and what could be a pretty special year?
It means a lot, coming from baseball in the spring being canceled, and then with a cloudy fall, knowing that we got some clearance now, we're ready to go. We're excited.
Garrett, what do you think is special about this particular team that's going to make us a little bit better than we were last year?
Well, we just have a lot of guys coming back. We didn't lose very much. I mean, we did lose the big guys on the other line like Riley Hill, and we lost McKeegan, but I think we're going to be able to group together this year and be better than what we have been in a while. I think we're able to do something great.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about week 1 and what that opponent means. It means a lot, obviously, to this community. 136 meaning the most played game in the state of Ohio and was just voted best rivalry in the state of Ohio. Blaine, tell me what this one means to Blaine.
That means everything. Our class hasn't got a victory against Troy yet, and that's tough to say, but this year, like he said, I think we got a once-in-a-lifetime team, and we're ready to get after it.
Garrett, from your perspective, you've been in a lot of big games, a lot of big moments. I've got to believe that you're going to really embrace 2 weeks from tonight.
I can't wait, honestly. It's one of those games where I've been thinking about my senior year for the longest time. And then everything that's happened in the past playing against them, I just can't wait to get out there and show them what we can do.
Beyond just week 1, we know we've got to play 5 games after that and everybody gets into the playoffs. I certainly want to let you guys know that we're behind you. We wish you well, and we look forward to seeing great things here for the Piqua Indian football team. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Now I'm going to have our other senior football players introduce themselves and the positions they play.
I'm Karan Coleman. I play running back and outside linebacker. I'm Jacob Ebner. I play O-line.
Karan, let's talk a little about the season. What this goal, what the expectations for this season are. It's already talked about a season that's like no other because of a season that went from 10 games to 6 games, but we know we have a season. We know we're going to play for sure. We know we're going to get this off the ground. What does it mean for you to know you've got a football season coming ahead?
We're fortunate to have a season, and we're just trying to make the most of it in our games and go deep in the playoffs.
How about you, Jacob? What's your thoughts as you get ready to prime for a season that you've been putting a lot of time in the off season for?
It's just exciting to be able to go back out there and, playing Troy week 1 and then actually putting in the work to try and go to the playoff, even though we're going in there already.
Yeah, it's a good point. We talked about the others, about playoffs and anything. Does that change your goals? And even though you're getting in the playoffs, you talked about a deep run. Does this team have that opportunity to do that? Are we made up to have a deep run?
Yeah, we plan on going deep this year, so.
Good. Let's talk a little bit about week 1. Troy coming out of the gate. What does that mean on your end? Not only do you get to play, but you get to play right here on this field 2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah, it's special, senior season. And we haven't won the past 2 years. We're just trying to finish out with a victory.
Well, we certainly wish you well, not just against Troy, but as you go through the 2020 season. I admire your all the times you guys have put in the offseason, particularly the challenge that we've come, and you overcame well, and we certainly wish you luck. Guys, right here from Alexander Stadium, 20 years of Alexander Stadium memories. We're going to make some more memories this year, and you're going to see them right here on the Indian Nation Station. With us now is our cheer coach, Coach Moore, and Coach, we are embarking on 2 weeks from today, opening night. What's strange about opening night is it's the Troy Trojans. I know one thing that the cheerleaders get excited about is cheering against Troy. I know there's some disappointment and some unusualness with the no rallies and parades and those things that come with that, but to start the first game, that's got to be fun for the girls.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to it. We take every challenge and make something new every year.
Coach, speaking of challenges, we got a trophy last year at cheerleading. We got 3rd place in the league. That's because of your leadership. That's because the girls have bought in, and you guys put a lot of work. A lot of people don't realize. You think you're just on the sideline cheering, throwing some palms. You guys are doing work 12 months a year in the gym with backflips and blood, sweat, and tears. Isn't that right?
That's right, all the time.
What makes cheerleading so competitive?
Just their nature. The girls obviously are super competitive, and it's a lot of hard work to learn new skills, especially at their age, to try and learn a new tumbling drill or whatever. It's definitely challenging when you're a little bit older. So seeing the new talent every year is a big deal for them.
What's it like to be a former cheerleader wanting to come back and coach and do it here?
Oh, it's so much fun. They always ask me, and I'm like, well, you have to understand all the passion behind it. I think it's a big deal when I've done it, I've been it, and we love Piqua football, so we're excited.
We pass it down. You're doing a great job. We really appreciate your luck this year.
Thank you.
All right, we will be back. We'll be right after this. Obviously, you know who I'm with. We're with our senior cheerleaders, and I'm going to have them go through and introduce themselves.
I'm Madison Miller.
I'm Haley Kermeans.
I'm Lydia Hume.
I'm Tania Johnson.
Aubrey Cathcart.
Cheerleading is far more difficult and challenging than just standing on the side with palms, okay? One of the things, though, that you guys have had to endure, too, is just like the football team is, are we going to have a season? When you found out for sure we're going to have a season, you knew who we've got week 1. And unison, on the count of 3, who do we have? 1, 2, 3.
Troy!
And that is the one thing that I hear Piqua cheerleaders tell me that's their most favorite week. Why is the Troy week so special?
It's just so exciting. We're all like coming together. It's like a family almost.
The road rallies, all of that. It's just fun to watch.
It's the biggest competition.
The energy at the games is pretty high.
I get to see Piqua beat Troy this year.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people are looking forward to. And you know, you talk about road rallies and those things, and unfortunately, it's going to be different because we're not going to have those things. But the energy of this game, not just talking to our football guys, but talking to our community, it means something, and it's your job to get everybody fired up and ready to go. So are we ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we end it, though, I want to talk a little about competition cheer, because that is the one thing that a lot of people probably don't know, because they see on the sidelines at home. We have really become a team to contend with, not just within our conference, but within the state. Talk a little about the time and effort that you guys put in outside of the season to make our team, well, last year, for the first time in several years, we got trophies.
It's a lot of time and energy, and you all have to like compete like together and just gotta be as best as you can.
Well, we do a camp that's like 7 hours long for 2 days, and it's just a lot of work, and we come together, and it looks great.
Everyone just has to be a team and
get along.
Get along.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just all have to like put all of our effort and just give it our all.
We put a lot of time in outside of school and in practice and even outside of practice trying to get where we are now.
You can tell you put it together, and just like a family, everybody has their moments. But genuinely, you guys do have a true chemistry, and see, it's not just on the sideline, but when you're doing your comp, it's fun to watch, and we certainly want to wish you well. And we're going to end media day. No better to end media day with our cheerleaders, because on the count of 3, or I should say, maybe I should start it, because we are.
Piqua!